Today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the upcoming same-sex marriage vote to be held in Australia.
Welcome back. One final point before we go. First, we had transgender. Men who identify as women, women who identify as men. They claim, the opposite gender of their birth gender because they feel they are trapped inside the wrong body. As a society, we accepted this. Then we got transracial. Rachel Dolezal, the white woman who pretended to be black and even led a chapter of the NAACP until she was exposed and thrown out, she claimed she wasn't pretending to be black. She is black because she feels black. She's a black woman trapped in a white woman's body. She's transracial, she says. As a society, we accepted this for the most part, except some liberals who claimed transracial is a thing, but Rachel Dolezal doesn't qualify because she's an imposter and a liar, and imposters and liars aren't entitled to their feelings or their identity. There's more. After transgender and transracial, we got transabled. Yeah, this one's really messed up. Physically healthy people who feel they should have been born disabled. A man in Great Britain cut off his arm because he felt like an amputee. A woman in North Carolina poured drain cleaner in her eyes because she felt blind. Transgender, transracial, transabled. Guess what's next? A grown man posting an ad on Craigslist wanting a nanny because he identifies as a baby. You can't make this stuff up. Ridiculous? Perhaps, but who's to say anymore if that's how he feels? If a man can be a woman because he feels like one, if a white person can be a black person because she feels like one, if a healthy person can mutilate herself because she feels disabled, if a grown man can be a baby because he feels infantile, where does this end? Can a child be an adult because she feels like a grown-up? Can a teenager buy alcohol because he identifies as over 21 years of age? Can a grown man attend kindergarten because he identifies as a 6-year-old girl? Can a child spend the day at doggy daycare instead of school because the child feels like a canine? If not, why not? If a kid can be transgender because he feels like a girl, who are we to tell a child he must attend school or obey his parents or refuse him a beer when he orders one? You can't have it both ways. If children have a right to parents providing for them, and a man identifies as a child because he feels he is a child trapped in an adult body, and if we're playing by these twisted, disordered, ridiculous rules where illusion and emotions trump objective truth, aren't we violating his rights by refusing him the love and care and financial support every child deserves? Just something for liberals to think about before they push the boundaries of identity politics past the point of no return. When you sacrifice objectivity and reality like transgender, transracial, transabled, transspecies, transaged, you get cultural absurdity. And we promise to cover it every step of the way because it has only just begun.
Ultimately, the only thing that is objectively true is my subjective assessment of what is true for me. The justice of identity politics is that society at large not only recognize, but also support, in language, thought, and legislation, each group's self-definition of its tribal truth. We see this now especially in the LGBT rights and gender identity movement.
It is difficult to know what is rooted in the truth and what is not. Are lies dressed as truth, reshaping our world, or has post-truth always been a reality?
Everywhere around us, in both America and Europe, a poorly understood, trickle-down postmodernism is already eroding our freedom and affecting our well-being.
Freedom is inextricably intertwined with truth. The problem is when we collide. If I'm a law unto myself and you're a law unto yourself, because we're so autonomous, there's going to come a time when my set of values is going to collide with your set of values. What I call the Hitlerization of social commentary. If you don't agree with me, you're Hitler. That's happened now, hasn't it? And I don't mean if you disagree with me, I mean if you don't agree with me, even if a lack of assent.
Reality itself is nothing more than what each individual or group feels it to be. This question of what human rights are demands resolution.
Underestimated outcomes that have divided the world.
So it recognizes, in distinction to postmodernism, it recognizes that truth actually exists. It just elevates preferences over it. Truth exists, we kind of don't care as long as we get what we want.
When it comes to same-sex marriage, however, the country is being pushed to institutionalize or formalize a personal lifestyle choice without any real discussion of the long-term impacts this decision will have and whether or not it is to society's benefit to begin the breakdown of the tried, tested, and essential backbone of society, the traditional family.
And thus it becomes inevitable that human rights themselves will be redetermined, and that by none other than those who hold political power. Only those who hold political power have authority that is enforceable.
The 2030 Agenda, with its 17 interconnected and mutually reinforcing sustainable development goals, provides humanity, all of us, with a universal master plan to transform our world for the better.
And there are those, the men of steel and the women of steel, who want to tell you that their voices can get you what you want. And they're the ones who say, we have the answers. But all of this is leading to a culture of confusion.
So what will this mean for normal everyday people who just want to raise their children in a normal natural environment? Firstly, it will be considered discrimination to say that marriage is between a man and a woman, or that every child should know and be raised by his or her biological married parents, and you can be prosecuted under new laws with tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees. New hate speech laws will be introduced. The insane political leftists and social justice warrior lunatics will call you redneck, racist and bigot. And because your beliefs, values, and political opinions are different from theirs, you risk losing your professional license, job, or business, and even your children. It is therefore not surprising to see how this has been planned for some time. For proof of this, look no further than the Safe Schools program, which is vile and disgusting in what it plans to teach your children. Parents can expect state interference when it comes to moral values, parenting, and education, and not just in schools. The government will have access into your home to supervise you as the parent, to judge your suitability. And if the government doesn't like what you are teaching your children, they will attempt to remove them from your home. Even if school teachers were to debate this, they will lose their jobs for thinking politically incorrect thoughts. If same-sex laws come into effect in Australia, we can also see gender-neutral language be legalized and mandated. It will be discrimination to assume that someone is male or female, regardless of whatever biological parts they have. This terminology is only starting to be used in schools and media right now. The freedom to assemble and speak freely about natural marriage, family, and sexuality will be restricted. Most faith communities will become politically correct, to avoid fines and loss of charitable status, and, in fact, some already have. Same-sex marriage is yet just another tool by the elite, via the United Nations, to erode your freedoms even more, until they are in complete control of every aspect of your life. Unless you vote no on a plebiscite in Australia for same-sex marriage, all of this will happen. Anonymous is not saying that same-sex couples should not be happy together. But you, the Australian, need to make a choice. Vote yes if you want more of your freedoms taken away, or vote no to preserve your way of life, and send a clear message to those in power that they are not welcome to do as they please with your lives. Send the message that they are there to govern us, not rule over us, which is what they are doing.
Thus, with this political redefinition of human rights, the individual's so-called unlimited right to choose becomes the unlimited right of the government to decide what may or may not be chosen. So government, as guarantor of universal human rights, expands inexorably to government as master. And with a global reach of communications, travel, commerce, and ideas, government as master expands geographically also. Just as government power to determine what human rights are is in principle unlimited, so it also becomes impossible to limit the power of government to a certain geographical area or to a certain people. Global supranational governance thus becomes the only rational option, and national sovereignty becomes, in principle, an impermissible limit on the elite's power to decide for everyone what is just and true.
I understand that what I'm saying may be offensive to some people, and that's not my intention, but we are all entitled to our own opinion. And the fact that I was extremely cautious to make this video should say a lot about this debate already. And to be honest, I find it highly hypocritical that those who go on about equality, love and respect seem not so eager to show love and respect to those they don't agree with. Finally, Australia. Make sure you're registered to vote. Go online, see the link below, register you and your family and friends, and vote no. This is an issue that is being forced on all of us when there are far more important things to worry about. This is an issue that will change the fabric of our society for decades to come and shape the world your children and grandchildren will live in. Traditional marriage is the only marriage, and if you believe so, don't be bullied into silence out of fear of offending someone. Just vote no.